What's up, everybody? It's John with John Sports Odds and Collectibles coming at you with a brand new video. How's everyone doing out there today in the YouTube universe? Today, we're going to be discussing Hall of Fame boxer Carmen Basilio. My family's tie-in with the boxer, and I've also got a special collectible to show off at the end, so you want to stick around for that. Carmen Basilio, born April 2nd, 1927, passed away November 7th, 2012. He was an American professional boxer, was a two-time undisputed welterweight champion, and undisputed middleweight champion, beating Sugar Ray Robinson for the latter title. An iron chin pressure fighter, Basilio was a combination puncher who had great stamina and eventually wore many of his opponents down with vicious attacks to the head and body. In 1957, the Ring magazine named Basilio Fighter of the Year, and he won the Hickok belt, a trophy that was awarded to the top professional athlete of the year. The Boxing Writers Association of America named him Fighter of the Year in 1955 and 1957. Basilio also holds the distinction of being in the Ring magazine's Fight of the Year in 5 consecutive years, from 1955 to 1959, a feat unmatched by any other boxer. In 2002, Basilio was voted by Ring magazine as the 40th greatest fighter of the last 80 years. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in the inaugural class of 1990. Basilio was born and raised in Canastota, New York. His parents were Italian immigrants, and he was one of 10 children. His family owned an onion farm where he worked during his youth. His family faced economic difficulties as many immigrant families did during the Depression era and World War II years. This upbringing instilled in Basilio a strong sense of toughness and resilience. After high school, Basilio enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II. While stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, he began boxing for the Marines, competing in inter-service bouts. This military experience gave him discipline and introduced him to a structured fighting environment that would set the stage for his professional career. Then, after receiving an honorable discharge and heading back home, Basilio started his professional boxing career. Basilio began his professional fighting career by facing Jimmy Evans on November 24, 1948, in Binghamton, New York. He knocked Evans out in the 3rd round, and 5 days later he beat Bruce Walters in only 1 round. By the end of 1948, he had completed 4 bouts. Basilio continued to fight up until 1953, when he started winning big fights and rose in the welterweight division rankings. He secured his first world title fight against Cuba's Kid Gavilan for Gavilan's World Welterweight Championship. In 1955, Basilio began by beating Peter Mueller by decision. After that, Basilio was once again the #1 challenger, and on June 10th of that year, he received a second world title try against world welterweight champion Tony DeMarco. Basilio became world champion by knocking out DeMarco in the 12th round. After winning the title, Basilio had 2 non-title bouts, including a 10-round decision win over Gil Turner, before he and DeMarco met again, this time with Basilio as the defending world champion. Their second fight had exactly the same result as the first bout. Basilio won by knockout in 12. In his next fight in 1956, Basilio lost the title in Chicago to Johnny Saxon by decision in 15 rounds. Saxon's manager, mafioso Frank Blinky Palermo, was later jailed with his partner Frankie Carbo for fixing fights. Basilio said of losing his title to the referee's decision, it was like being robbed in a dark alley. In an immediate rematch that was fought in Syracuse, New York, Basilio regained the crown in a 9-round knockout, and then, in a rubber match, Basilio kept the belt with a knockout in 2. After that, he went up in weight and challenged the 36-year-old world middleweight champion Sugar Ray Robinson in what might have been his most famous fight. He won the middleweight championship of the world by beating Robinson in a 15-round split decision on September 23, 1957. The day after, he had to abandon his welterweight belt in accordance with the boxing's then rules. In 1957, Basilio won the Hickok belt as the top professional athlete of the year. In 1958, he and Robinson met in a rematch on March 25th, and Robinson barely regained the title with a controversial 15-round split decision. The judges scored 71 to 64.5 and 72 to 64. Robinson, while the referee scores 66 to 69 Basilio. Although Basilio's left eye was totally swollen shut from the sixth round on, many of the ringside press thought Basilio won the fight. That moment and until his retirement in 1961, he fought only sporadically, but 3 of his last fights were attempts to recover the world middleweight title, losing twice to Gene Fulmer. In 1960, Basilio testified before the United States Senate Subcommittee on Antitrust and the Monopoly during its investigation of the International Boxing Club of New York and the influence of organized crime on boxing. Basilio told the subcommittee about Frankie Carbo and Frank Blinky Palermo and Carbo's aide, Gabriel Genovese, a cousin of Mafia Don Vito Genovese, who was convicted in 1959 of being an unlicensed boxing manager. He called for a house cleaning of professional boxing. His testimony revealed that his former managers had to pay off organized crime for his title shots and that he essentially had a behind-the-scenes manager in Genovese. Now, this is where my family's tie-in comes in. And you're going to see a photograph in a second of Basilio, Carmen, with my grandfather, who represented him for, I want to say close to 5 years. And this is a photograph of the two discussing things during the Senate committee hearings. Now, I never knew about this relationship growing up. My grandfather passed away, may he rest in peace. And I noticed a few weeks ago a photograph in my father's office of my grandfather, Carmen Basilio, and I believe a few of his managers were in the photograph too. Here's another image of them, a color image of them at the Senate committee hearings. I found this fascinating, and that is why I decided to make this video and talk about Carmen, give some highlights in his life, show some pretty awesome photos, and I decided to pick up a really cool collectible that I got at a pretty cheap price, and we're going to check that out in a second. But again, this was awesome to find out about this connection of my family with this Hall of Fame boxer. Like I said, my grandfather represented him for like 5 years. And, when my grandfather was around, I was very young. So something like this probably would not have even been thought about being brought up, to be honest with everybody out there. So it was definitely really cool to find out about this information and to see these photographs, and also see the video evidence too that you can find on YouTube. So let's get into this collectible right now. All right, folks, check this out. So, just to recap this story here, Carmen Basilio, what an awesome boxer and just a really incredible story. I'd heard the name in the past. I believe like my family brought this up maybe once, twice in my lifetime, and it went right over my head. So when I saw this photograph of my grandfather, who was his attorney for like 5 years, represented him in those Senate hearings. It's just wild to see the video of that, the old footage, the old newsreel footage that you can find online. And it was actually used in an ESPN documentary as well, too. And he's in that. I never knew it until I started doing research on all of this. So I saw this photograph of my grandfather, Basilio, and I believe his 2 managers at my dad's office. And I looked at it, I was like, who is that with Grandpa? And the caption was like really, really small. It was like a photograph from maybe like a newspaper or magazine that was professionally, done. He told me, and I was like fascinated by this. So I went home here and I started, reading up on Carmen. And then I started looking online, and then I found images of my grandfather with Basilio, and then I found the footage of the Senate hearings, and I was like, I've got to make a video about this. But I can't just make a video about this. I've got to get something to show off here at the end of the video, and here it is. An autographed photo of Carmen Basilio that I picked up on eBay for like a super low price. I mean, I assume that Carmen signed a lot at shows because there seem to be a lot of things listed. Boxing gloves, lots of photos, magazines, the ring magazines that he was, named top boxer in and top fighter in, and there were a lot of those items. And then I came across this one, and this is certified by Beckett, and I picked it up, and here it is. Really awesome signature, beautiful signature with a silver like Sharpie. Just super cool. Authenticated by Beckett. That's great too. You always want to make sure that the items are authenticated. And I had originally purchased a KO boxing card that was certified by JSA. And then the seller came back to me and said it was sold already. I think he didn't want to sell it for the price that he had it listed as, and maybe it was an old listing. Maybe he didn't have it anymore. Anyway, he refunded me, and so the hunt was then on to find another reasonably priced item that I could showcase off in this video, and here it is. Very cool stuff. This one will stay in my collection because of my family's tie-in. And just like I said, an incredible story of a Hall of Fame boxer. And it's just really, really cool. Especially when I consider my family's tie-in with this individual here. May he rest in peace as well. Along with my grandfather, who passed away years ago. And like I mentioned before, he never brought this up. I was very young when he was alive, and then in my teenage years, I didn't see him as much because I lived in New York. And but he never brought this up. I wish I would have known back then. And but here we are. And I was also asking my family about, are there any records? Like, are there any, like, documents from this time frame? And it was all destroyed, like thrown away after he passed away, to my understanding, from what my father was telling me. And he wishes that he still had that stuff, because those items would be kind of priceless to have, documents from the hearing and other maybe correspondence between the two of them. I mean, it just would have been incredible to still have those items in my family's possession, but unfortunately they are gone. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. A different kind of video today, more of a documentary style, I would have to say. And I'd love to make more videos like this coming up in the future, so maybe I will, and look out for them. So remember, if you're new here and you like what you see and hear here, please hit the subscribe button. Please give this video a like, a thumbs up. Please comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And remember, the eBay store link is down below in the description. And that is all I have for you guys today. Until next time, folks, this is John with John Sports Odds and Collectibles signing off, and I will see everybody very, very soon. Take care.
Carmen Basilio, world middleweight champ, gets in his final training licks for his forthcoming return battle with Sugar Ray Robinson in Chicago. The boy from Syracuse who won the crown from Sugar Ray is not taking any chances for this battle. He's in there punching. High spot of the training day is the sparring session. Basilio's not the most graceful battler in the ring, but he can hit, as Sugar Ray well knows.